What's up guys, it's Jordan J5 Alive here again, and I'm here with Fitzherbert, Arnold and Friedrich. Hallo there, servus, guten Tag my friends. So welcome back to another episode of recreating local GTR routes in Lego Gauge. And if you've been watching me for the last 2 minutes, I have just built the entire map that we are recreating in this project using our Lego train collection. It's taken me an hour to plan and build all of it, and I'm actually sweating right now in this heat. But in this video, I am going to be explaining what everything is represented by in case you're brand new. So we're going to start under the bed here with this turning loop, which is going to be representing Eastbourne, the classic terminus for class 171s these days, when in the old days they used to terminate in our hometown of Brighton. And that was the state when Fitzherbert and I moved into the UK 10 years ago, because since 2018 DMUs have terminated in Eastbourne due to overcrowding because they were using 2-car units and a lack of diesel trains, because diesel services also run on the Uckfield branch line as well, which I think we will film at some point in the future, and probably get some 2-car units on camera as well. So, leaving Eastbourne behind, we are following along the left-hand side of the track, not the right-hand side, because everything runs on the left in the UK, so we've had to update some of our infrastructure in order for the track to represent British Rail. We have Hampden Park level crossing here, which is the busiest level crossing in the county, because the traffic queues are immense on both sides, and I'm glad we don't even take the car to go shopping in Aldi in Hampden Park, do we, Fitzy? No, we don't. We always take the bike and the train. Yeah, it would be a nightmare to drive out when the crossing's down, but that's not a big problem to us because we're very environmental all the time. So, leaving Hampden Park behind, we now have Willingdon Junction, which branches off the East Coastway line into two. The west part of it goes up towards Lewes, where it splits in half again, but we haven't done one of them. We've done the Brighton part, because when it splits at Lewes on the other direction, it doesn't even become the East Coastway line, it's part of the Brighton main line instead. So this loop here is going to be represented by Brighton. I'll mention what the other loop over there is in a second. But if we turn right at the junction, which is typical for DMUs these days, they continue along the coastline. So this straight bit is going to represent Pevensey and Westham, Pevensey Bay, Normans Bay, Cruden Beach, Collington, Bexhill. We haven't got enough space for St Leonard's engineering shed, which would normally be between Bexhill and St Leonard's itself. But here is Bo Peep Junction, which is where the line from Tunbridge comes down, and that is what this loop here is going to represent for, and only for Southeastern Class 375 EMUs. Now we've used a signal tower here rather than a standard signal because Bo Peep Junction's junction directing signal hangs over the train tracks. It appears just as you come out of the tunnel. So we're using that, and yes, it doesn't have any lights on at the moment. That's because we're going to do it when we're sending the trains around. And then we didn't have enough space to try and fit it in exactly, but we turned the corner here into Bo Peep Tunnel, which is 1,309 yards long, as I mentioned in the first video last month, and it's the second longest one, and we only have 2 tunnels available, so we're choosing to have 2 longest tunnels, which both are at the ends of the tunnel district in Hastings, and this is what it is actually, Hastings. So this switch here we are using for terminating services like class 375s, and they'll go straight across and turn around over the double crossover heading in this direction. So this turn back bit here is going to be the ore siding where EMUs go. So at the moment as it stands, the switch is set to a straight aspect through ore tunnel here, which is only used by class 171s, and the east end of it is our favourite filming spot, just to remind you. So any EMUs will use the diverging aspect of the crossover and come back over here. So our plan was to do small turning loops, but there's not enough space for it because we had to move the furniture in the first place. Also, don't see my feet in this case. And then the alternative for EMUs is just to go straight across just towards Orr. So this diverging bit of the track is mainly just for terminating service in Hastings. So once the Orr tunnel is cleared, we then move on towards Rye, and we haven't used Winchelsea, Three Oaks, Dolan or Rye itself. We're using two level crossings because not only is Rye sandwiched between two level crossings, we're using three crossings to represent three level crossings that we drive over on our way to Germany in the summer. So the first one is East Guildford level crossing, which is where Fitzherbert and I filmed 811 for the first time. Then Star level crossing is about a mile further ahead. I'll come to what this crossing is in a second. But then these two switches placed right next to each other mark Appledore, the end of the single track, where it becomes double track all the way to Ashford International, which is what that loop is under the bed on the other side. Now this loop here that we've built is for the nuclear flask train to Dungeness. Yet again, we didn't have enough space to build a full turnaround loop, so we just made a loop back on Ashford itself, so it's going to run around in a circle. But this level crossing here is Brooklyn level crossing on the nuclear flask branch. It has no gates and no alarms, so it's a very dangerous crossing. But we've never seen it activated at all, because it's not even on the Marshlink line. So all in all, we are going to show one by one across the next 6 videos, each train running around. So first up, we are going to do our EMUs. First of all, we're going to represent it with the very first passenger train we got, which was the high-speed passenger train, set number 60051. And that's going to run between Brighton and Hastings, so technically it'll follow both aspects of Willingdon Junction, which we will have to change during the video when we're filming it, going around the layout. And then we're going to have our other southern based EMU, which is going to be 60337, which is represented by the class 377, which will be covering between Eastbourne and Orr. Then we will have the southeastern EMU, which will be doing the shortest of the passenger loops between the Tunbridge Loop and Hastings. Then the class 171 DMU 7938 doing Eastbourne to Ashford International. And then we will have the nuclear flask train representing just the Dungeness power branch. And then lastly 7939, the maintenance unit, which will be going across the entire map that we have just made. So I'm just gonna quickly show you the trains close up when you saw them in the previous video as just pictures, just to represent them. So on the bottom shelf here we have our 2 freight units. So the nuclear flask unit is the blue one and the maintenance unit is the yellow one. Then on the next shelf we have our passenger service EMUs. We have the Gatwick Express Class 387 as 60051 on the left, the Class 377 of 60337 on the right, and the Southeastern EMU of 60197 in the middle. And on the top shelf, we have our Class 171 substitute of 7938. So that's all good and proper. So hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're only just new to us. So we'll see you for episode 3 of testing 60051 on the tracks. And stay tuned. See you next time then. Auf Wiedersehen, guys. Ciao. Bis bald.